Yeah, I look funny, but I'm warm. Howdy, Eddie. Great to see you, sir. I'm gonna be here a while. So I brought out the big dog, the big stick, the Black Market Gordo. Remember, I used this punch. Makes it look like a Robusto, but it's a much bigger punch. And I think there's like some sort of a weather advisory or something going on in Harris County for some reason. Mostly because I can hear it through the door. You know that annoying sound? Yeah, we all know that annoying sound. So watch, this tea, which was steaming hot, 5 minutes ago, is now lukewarm. Of course, it's in a camp cup. You know those things don't hold heat. It'll be iced tea by the time I'm done. So very nice. Good thing I like iced tea. Yes, I'm putting the gloves on. Ugh, it is a little chilly out here. I am not suggesting that people go out just to prove they are manly and tough in weather like this. I'm not manly and tough. I'm idiotic, probably, but let's be realistic. Who cares? I'm here to tailgate because Glum Chum's coming on in about 2.5 hours. And that's about how long that would last if I smoke slow. I could get it down to an hour and a half. Oh, Eddie, trust me on this. This is a jacket with a hood that's already attached, and a jacket underneath that, and a hoodie zip up type thing underneath that. Now, underneath this, I am not wearing a whole lot because I'll go inside and I'll shed all of this real quick and I'll be comfortable when I go inside. If you're worried about cold, layers are better than one big thick jacket. And I know this, and a lot of people that live with cold weather know this. Under the pants, I've got a pair of flannel pajama bottoms with one pair of big thick socks, and it's all tucked into some work boots except for the pants that go over the outside of the work boots. You make an airlock basically so that there's no direct path where air cannot travel through like 3 or 4 layers of clothes. You'll be fine. Well, for the most part, in this weather. Okay, let me be honest. I just checked. It's 34 degrees here. That's not intolerable. But now imagine going outside and just sitting in that same 34 degrees, 70% humidity for 2.5 hours. Most people are going to say, no, pretty much not going to do it. And I just say, yeah, I'm going to because I can. Should? Maybe not. Can? I can. Alright, let's get this lit. Have a good time with this. Oh, Eddie, I can imagine. So you're only 1 degree cooler than I am. That's pretty good for being, roughly 300 miles north. I mean, I don't know exactly where in Fort Worth you're at, but oh yeah, no heater out here. I'm not bringing any heater. You want the heat? That's what hits the cigar. We're all right. Now, to make sure I don't burn the shit out of my glove when I light this thing. It is a Gordo. It does take a little bit to get it lit. It ain't a perfect light, but I don't give a damn. It's lit. I'm not, but it is. I know I'm not. I considered coming out here with an old-fashioned or two to hang out, but I'll save that for when I get inside. Alcohol is actually bad for you when you're outside in the cold this way. And once you go back inside, sure, no problem. These are things I learned from my mother, who grew up in Wisconsin. I think it maybe gets a little bit cold there. Maybe. Or at least so I've been told. Hard to tell when the smoke's all gone because my breath's still steaming. So there's 4 of y'all in. Hey, don't just sit there. Go ahead, say something other than Eddie. Eddie, go ahead, say whatever you want to say. I'm not really sure about a topic today, other than, well, it got cold, and I do crazy things. I considered going out in the 28 degrees that was this morning and decided, no, not if I'm also going to be doing a tailgate later today. It's not so much that there's a struggle with tailgates, or at least topics for tailgates, but I would hate for it to be so repetitive, so one note, that everybody's like, why tune in? It's the same story every week. I mean, damn. If we were doing that, we could probably turn it into a drinking game. When he says this phrase exactly, drink. I'm not saying that's what we need to do. I'm just saying that it could be done. Well, it's chilly. Howdy, Matt. Great to see you, sir. And for anybody who is interested, that is the mat right there that this tailgate is for. In case y'all are wondering, that's of course Lum Chum Piper. And whenever he decides to go live, that's when we're going to jump on out of here. And howdy, Jeff. Great to see you, sir. It was 70-something degrees 2 days ago. It was all the way below 40 yesterday. And it's not even going to get to 35 today. Needless to say, I've got pets on the inside of the house that are freaking out, going like, hey, can we go out? And then I get them to the door and they feel that cold and they turn back around pretty much in the space of their own skin, and then they scamper back inside before they get colder. Damn it. Matt, I'm going to just answer this as simply as I can. I have enough layers. It's enough layers that if I'm sitting still, not doing anything, I'm comfortable. Well, the core is comfortable. The fingers are a little bit less protected than I'd like, but it'll work. Jose Golf Piper, howdy, sir. And the nose gets a little cold, and it'll run a little bit. Not much I can do about that. I'm more worried about the ears than anything else, because I've way too often gotten really bad earaches. That and my toes. My toes will get really cold. But that's because all of my good work boots that are thick are also steel-toed. And as anybody who's ever worn steel-toed boots can tell you, when that steel plate in there gets cold, it turns into a freezer on your toes. Only way to get them warm is to take the boots off and basically wash your feet. Or set them up in front of a fire and wait until you start seeing steam coming off the leather. Then you know they're warm. Well, I'm not going to go light the fireplace. Mostly because my mother-in-law doesn't want to light the fireplace. That's it. That's the all of it. And realistically, because of where it is in the house, it doesn't do a great job of heating the house. For a 2-story house, you'd need that fireplace to be on an interior wall somewhere near the center of the house. Or if it's on an exterior wall somewhere along the north side of the house. No, it's on the south side. On an exterior wall. Right next to a bunch of windows. Couldn't design a worse spot to put a fireplace. But if it gets down to really cold, we'll light up the fireplace just to provide a little bit of heat. Woo! 9 degrees. I have been in cold that was that cold. I have been in cold that was in the negatives. I don't deal with cold very well, but I'm not trying to shame anybody about it either. I mean, no big deal. 9 degrees is pretty chilly. Don't get me wrong. Yes, Sharon, I am very okay. How about yourself, ma'am? By the way, howdy. Great to see you. Now, of course, I'm doing fine because I knew how to layer up and just stay warm. Howdy, Paul. Great to see you, sir. Jeff, that is definitely cold enough to freeze your hind quarters off. In situations like that, that's when I participate fully in the mask mandate. You can put that mask over the front and where nobody can see you at all, and suddenly you're completely warm. In fact, just doing this, just my breath going against the glove, felt like 10 degrees warmer. Eddie, that is true. Cigars do taste a little bit different and act a little bit differently in the cold. It's been what I've noticed anyways. If it's below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, below 0 degrees Celsius, you should probably avoid smoking a cigar. It gets cold enough that you'll start to freeze certain sections of the cigar before you even get them to burn. And that's going to affect the flavor because the oils are not going to heat. They're not going to draw back through. You're not going to get that flavor that you've been looking for. But above 32, you're pretty good. Well, it's 34, so I got a degree and a half to play with. And by the time it drops off to cold enough, well, I should be pretty close to being done. And I'm okay with that. Oh, Sharon, I only look very cold. But I put on enough layers that I'm not. I mean, yes, the exposed skin here, like my nose and the cheeks, right on the cheekbones, they'll be a little bit cold by the end of this. I'm wearing the gloves today just to keep the fingers from being super iced up. It's 2.5 hours. that's a long time to sit out here and not try to take care of the body parts. Now, I'm not saying that people can't do it. There's people that like cold weather enough that they would do it just fine. I'm not one of those. I'm okay with that statement. No, Sharon, I haven't seen any snow this year as of yet. Not even this winter season, so which stretches into last year too. But Houston rarely sees snow. Even when it does drop down to cold enough, for the most part, we don't get the snow. I would love to see some snow, but then again, as soon as it snows, uh, the counties around here will shut down all the roadways and everything. It's not because they don't believe that anybody can drive on it. It's because they know nobody has experience on it. I mean, I've got experience on it, but not like people who live with it on a regular basis. But I've been to Buffalo, New York in the wintertime, and trust me, if you can't find snow in Buffalo, New York, that's because you ain't got eyeballs. I mean, you're as likely to not find snow in Buffalo, New York during the wintertime as you are to fall out of a rowboat on the Mississippi and not hit water. You're probably going to do one or the other. You're going to find snow in Buffalo and you're going to find water on the Mississippi. It just is, that's what it is. Now see, Jeff, that's the great part about living in cold weather. You don't have to have that refrigerator even running. You just walk outside, set it down, go back inside. A couple minutes later, you walk back outside. You're like, all right, we're good to go. That's part of the reason why I was thinking about bringing a couple of old fashions out just to drink during this live stream. I like a nice chilled old fashioned. James! Howdy, James. Always good to see you. And Big Country, aka Cole. Oh yeah, Porch Pop. It's the beer cooler. And it's much cooler than the cooler. Yes, Paul, I actually mentioned that before. I had thought about it, but because I'm going to be out here for 2.5 hours, I didn't want to jack with the possibilities of causing more harm than good. Now, when I go back inside, I can pretty much guarantee I'm going to have an old fashioned. Huva Ilta, Boris. Great to see you, sir. By the way, no, Boris, it's not as cold as where you are. I've only succeeded in doing that once. Maybe I'll succeed in doing it again, but it won't be today. It is cold enough you'll see my breath pretty much through the whole stream, which is how you know that I've got enough layers on that I'm warm. You're going to still see my breath. if I didn't have enough layers on, if I was just faking it, if I was starting to be cold, at some point you would stop seeing steam coming off of my breath as I'm just talking. Oh, James, you're 1 degree warmer than I am. And this cup of tea was steaming hot when I first walked out, and it's cool now, 25 minutes later. Okay, so let's make sure that people send some prayers to Beans and Cody. Of course, that's Beans 316, and Cody is Smoking Fireman. They apparently got really blasted by this cold that went through. Hopefully they're doing well and have power. Some people don't, some people do. Woo, 27 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm close to you, Boris. I'm close. I ain't there. And it did not get that cold last night. It got down to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. So I came out, and a couple of little pools of water had some ice kind of floating on top. It didn't stay there very long. For the most part, I just picked up the ice, chunked it off in the yard. I got some bird baths for the few birds that aren't going anywhere. You can hear one or two of them. I'm pretty sure y'all can hear them. I wouldn't mind if it was a squirrel or a bird drinking out of the water I provide for them, but you know, it's a little harder for them to chip through the ice, so I just break the ice for them. All right, Cole. So, yeah, anybody who has some good line of prayer, go ahead and start praying for Beans. He says probably no power for a week. Now, I don't know how bad that is in his area specifically, but man, no power for a week. Any location that's without power for a solid week, that's a bad thing. Well, Sharon, as far as the wildlife goes, about the only wildlife that I don't tolerate is mosquitoes. And I don't do very well with the pus moth caterpillar either. But that's because they like to sting the crap out of me, and then I'm wearing welts wherever I got nailed. Always just so much fun. It's like tamping a pipe with your tongue. Just so much fun. For anybody who's interested, this is a black market Gordo. Y'all know I like the black market. Knowing that it was going to get cold like this, I made sure to get the Gordo, mostly so that I could have a cigar that I don't have to really concentrate on to still enjoy. Just kind of is what it is. Boris, I'm right there with you. And people who live in a lot of snow and ice, That'd be a good thing to get, is a generator, whether it be portable or one of those like Generac ones that you got to pour a pad and hook it up and it runs on natural gas. Uh, Mostly because the natural gas lines pretty much everywhere in America are deep enough that they're not going to freeze. Of course, if you knew how cold it has to get for natural gas to freeze, then you would understand it's probably not going to happen anyway. Let's just say that the coldest temperature I've ever heard of recorded in the continental United States was not cold enough to freeze natural gas. Howdy, Steve and Miss Kathy. Great to see you, sir. And ma'am. I will say that I caught Eddie's live, well, the last little bit of it. I was just doing piddly stuff around the yard, and then when I finally got around to sitting down and finishing up the pipe I had going, flipped on the YouTube, and there was Eddie. Hey, I'll join in. Most of y'all know if something pops up saying howdy to Houston, it's probably me. Or howdy from Houston is actually what I always type in. Of course, now that I've said that, somebody somewhere will probably start typing that in just to screw with people. Ah, well, if they want to be me that bad, more power to them. Oh. I will say I didn't know if it was going to be remaining cold or if it was going to warm up. Looks like the rest of the week will be warming up pretty good. And by Wednesday of next week, it's supposed to be up around 65, 70. So y'all don't have to worry about Houston. Houston's pretty well okay. There's some parts in more northern sections of Texas that they got hit pretty hard, but I'm not aware of any place specifically. Our local news isn't going to tell us about some place up in like Amarillo. What can I tell you? It'd take you all day to drive there. And in this weather, I don't think you would get very far, because as soon as you got in the hill country, you ain't driving anyways. Oh yeah, Eddie, that's just the way Texas weather is. And that's the reason it feels so cold, is because it won't get cold and stay cold. Like you go up to Lake Michigan or something like that, when it gets cold, it just stays cold. Here in at least this section of Texas, it'll get cold, and less than a week later, it's t-shirt and shorts weather again. And then 3 days after that, it'll drop off and be cold again. Your body just can't work that way. That is very true, Steve. Oh yeah, Boris, 65, 70 degrees in January. Normal. you can literally see it snow one day and be t-shirt weather the next. It does not make any kind of sense what Mother Nature's trying to do with the weather in Texas. Hey, no big deal. It's cold now. That's all I'm going to tell you. Quite honestly, anytime I get within 10 degrees Fahrenheit of what the temperature is in Finland, it's probably cold for Texas. By the way, Boris, I am sorry that your female hockey team lost to Team USA. And if you know anybody in Sweden, you can let them know that I feel bad for them for losing in curling to Team USA. But I, of course, am cheering on my United States teams in the Winter Olympics. Oh, and I guess it's okay to tease Glenn that one of his Winter Olympic teams lost to a United States team. But I'm not really familiar with what the event was. I saw this little flash of a news report on it, but I didn't catch the whole thing. And by the time I was actually paying attention, it was already too late. They were already on to another subject. Do I expect the United States to win every event? No. They never have before. I don't see why they would start now. And they do way better in the summer events. But hey, if your national team can beat my national team, I am perfectly okay with that. That's all about the fun of sports. Howdy, Ben. Well, Ben, it is not icy here, but it is pretty cold. Well, cold for Houston standards. But howdy, Ben. How you doing? Great to see you, sir. Oh. Oh, by the way, in Winter Olympics, I really only follow two sports. That, of course, is hockey and curling. If I happen to see the biathlon, that's the one where you do cross-country skiing and then you pull a rifle off of your back and shoot some targets, and then you do some more cross-country skiing. I like that event, but you can almost never find it televised in this section of the planet. I don't think people understand what it takes to do cross-country skiing and then immediately switch over to the calm, cool, collected, and proper breathing for accurate shooting. I couldn't do it. I'm a decent shot. Of course, with my bad knee, there's no way I'm doing any kind of skiing. James, I'm of two minds about that. One, it's in China, so should we have not boycotted just because of the way things are going right now? But then again, Does boycotting give the whole world the impression that the United States is pussing out? And if that's the case, I say show up and whoop some ass. Well, Boris, one of our co-captains took an injury on the women's team, so it's very good chance that Canada's going to get that gold, and USA might end up only with fourth. Now, James, I'd have been okay with that statement. Howdy, Todd. Great to see you, sir. By the way, for anybody who's not following Todd, I think all of us in here actually are. But if you're not, go find his channel. It's right there, Little Fat Morgan. And subscribe. Here's the deal. He gets to 100 subscribers. According to what I've heard, he's giving away a pipe. Not just any pipe. A Phil Rivera. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Phil Rivera pipe is in my bucket list. I want one. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not getting into Todd's GAW. It is not because I don't want a Phil Rivera pipe. I want one really bad. But it is because I want the rest of the YTPC to have a better chance of winning. Now, Todd, don't feel bad about that. I am going to push your GAW as best as I can. But again, I want everybody else to have a damn good shot at winning. James, I agree with you wholeheartedly, sir. What? There's no Finnish team in curling? That is pretty well shocking, because Finland always puts a good team in. But yes, so anyway, if you want a Phil Rivera pipe, you got a good shot at it, but you better get subbing Little Fat Morgan, who we all know and love. His name's actually Todd. I know his last name. I'm not going to mention it. If he wants to put it in there, I will. But, man, we've been seeing Todd for feels like years now. He doesn't make a lot of videos. Mostly he just throws a short little clip in there and, doesn't eat up a bunch of your day. He's always got good things to say, though. I'm surprised he doesn't have a whole lot more than 100 already, but I've been subbed to him for forever. Pretty much ever since he showed up on Martin's show, which that's been a while. It's also how he got the moniker Little Fat Morgan, because he sent Martin 2 pipes. They were Missouri Meerschaum Morgans, and they are little fat pipes. True story. Boris, that's completely shocking. I mean, curling pretty much came from your generalized area. mean, all the stones I hear come from someplace in Ireland, or is that Scotland? Doesn't really matter. It's one of them or the other. But that's because it's a specific hardness of granite for all the stones. Beyond that, I'm stretching the limit of my knowledge of curling. I do like the sport. I mean, we're talking about a team. It's definitely a great sport. Steve, I would love to see Todd pass me. I'm somewhere around 250. And I don't care if I never get another sub at all. I would love to see everybody who wants to get it to pass my number up. Jeffrey Feinberg, howdy sir, great to see you. I like to tailgate. I like to provide the show before the show. I don't need a bunch of people. Hell, if I had a whole lot of people here, I couldn't even keep up with it. I mean, the largest populated live stream I ever did, I tried to set my head on fire, or that was about a year ago. Something about some real spicy peanuts. I think it's in the works that somebody is supposed to be sending me some ungodly hot chocolate. Not as in hot chocolate the drink, but chocolate as in like a candy bar that is loaded up with peppers. So we'll be looking forward to doing that on April 1st this year, if it shows up. Okay, Boris. Curling is from Scotland. I mean, I kind of knew that. And the stones are from an island near Wales. Okay. But still, that's like what? 200 miles tops from where you're at? That's a whole lot closer than the whole ocean away that it is for America. I know the Finnish people have some damn good curlers. We're not talking about hair, we're talking about throwing some heavy set stones on slicked ice. And if you've never seen curling live, do it once. It's loads of fun. Also, traditionally, it is the only game that I've ever heard of where the winner buys the loser a round of drinks. That's like saying, hey, sorry you lost. This will make you feel better. Let's have a pint. Or a dram, or something worth talking about it. For me, that's at least my take on it. James, that's yeah, okay, that would be an interesting conversation. You should have recorded it. It would probably do real well on YouTube, anyways. Jeffrey, I am about a 50-50. I've spent more time with cigars, but I do love my pipes. I found that while I'm doing a live show, cigars are much easier to work with. But other than that, I mean, I do smoke my pipes every day, or at least one pipe is going to get smoked every day. I don't always smoke a cigar. Again, it just tends to be that while you're tailgating and chatting, it's a whole lot easier to work with the cigar. And I worked in a cigar shop, so I do have a whole lot of cigar knowledge, and I don't mind sharing that. Morris, that is probably true. That that the teams there in Finland are of the amateur quality, and there are a lot of more or less professional teams along the rest of the world. All right, Todd's up at 95. That's awesome. I do know that he was featured briefly on the Briar Report blog today. If y'all haven't been tuning into the blog, you're missing out. Short little read. You won't even miss that amount of time if you're thinking, hey, you know what? Cup of coffee, read the blog. You're done with the blog before you're done with that cup of coffee. Just say it. I find it to be highly entertaining. Sometimes completely off topic. But you know what? It's not full of a whole lot of crap that you don't want to know anyways. It's just a short, quick, to the point, hi, howdy, and then the rest of your day is yours. But it's got a lot of links normally, and just tapping in on the links can get you to a lot of stuff that you're going to want to know about. Ah, the mail showed up. I don't know if I've got any packages. Nope, no packages today. Oh, good grief, James. Work is a four-letter word. You're not supposed to do those. I know, it's the evil of society that we all have to work for what we've got. I know I haven't had a job in a while, so just remember, I really busted my ass much earlier on in life, so I can kind of sit back a little bit now. But I am looking for a job, as long as it is the right job. When COVID goes away, it won't matter if it's the right job or not. I'm going to just take a damn job. Or when the COVID restrictions go away, or when they find a vaccine that actually drops COVID on its ass. Until then, I'm just kind of stuck with, I'm not putting my family at risk by having a job. it's a little bit of a strain on the family, but it's not as bad as, say, getting my mother-in-law or my wife sick. James, I hear you. I hear you completely. For me, it's not the back, it's the knee. Only one knee. So I can do jobs where I do a whole lot of driving and a little bit of work, or I can do jobs where I'm mostly immobile. I can even do jobs where I'm up and down a ladder or something like that. It's all about positioning what I got to do to get to do what I'm doing. But right now, every job I could get is going to put me in with other people. And I can't control what they do with their lives. So I can't control what they might bring to my life. And where I'm not going to get sick from COVID the way most people will, I'm not bringing it home to my family, who my wife and my mother-in-law both have asthma, which puts them in a much higher percentile of being seriously jacked up by COVID. If on the other side they get to the point where COVID is no longer screwing with people that have asthma, then I'll worry about it. But for right now, I'll just deal with chilling out. Well, they can't okay school for me because I don't have the ability to sit in those classes and go through the schools. I mean, you get to that spot where you're, supposed to write this paper. Well, I can't write a paper. I've never been good at it. Oh, I speak very well. Sure, no problem. But you remember, I go off on wild tangents. Well, I write papers the same way. So I've got a train of thought, but the train of thought becomes derailed on a regular basis, which is, that's instant fail for most paperwork. Oh yeah, I do a lot of the housework. Jeffrey, yes, my wife does have a job. She can work right here from the house. Uh, if it wasn't for her having a job where she could work from the house, I would have a job. Uh, because they got to eat. At that point, it's basically flip a coin. Do you starve to death, or do you go and get a job that might end up killing your family anyways? Oh yeah, James. My problem was word processing back when I tried going to school wasn't as sophisticated as it is now. I mean, it might be a whole lot easier now, but I'm so far behind the curve. I would be back in remedials, which it's going to feel like I got slapped in the face. Uh-oh. But Boris, those sound like really nice things. I mean, did you make a video for Stumbo? I'll be looking for it. Oh yeah, James. They understand all that at the community college. They also understand that they are going to force me to go through it, and that I'm going to burn up a whole lot of money getting through the remedials before I can even get to the courses that I actually need to get a little farther ahead. I would have to wait until I have a job to really look at spending that kind of money. And that's the problem. And as Steve pointed out, there's that little bit of dyslexia. Mine's not so bad as some people, but and when it hits, I could, yeah, I get it all screwed up. Boris, those keychains came from Simon, went to Kentucky, and now have come all the way back to Finland. That Briar is a world traveler now. Oh yeah, Eddie. Morris has got the subs, but that's because he's on everybody's live stream. He is the world's greatest lurker, so to speak. He is not a content creator, but he goes to everybody's live stream. I've seen him on live streams. I was like, Boris won't be here. And I click on it, Boris is already there. It makes me feel good because I'm like, man, you go, Boris. And not only is he on everybody's live streams, but he also goes on Google meetups and Zoom meetings and all the other good stuff. Oh, I made sure to go looking for Boris because he kept showing up on my live stream, and I was like, to hell if I'm not going to sub to somebody who's steadily showing up on my live streams. If y'all are being awesome to me, I guarantee I'm following you back. I agree with you, Ben. He has definitely got the grand champion of lurking down. Because he doesn't just lurk, he also comments. And for anybody who thinks lurking is a bad word, whatever, no, not in YouTube language, it's not. Being a lurker is somebody who shows up and watches the videos and is there for the lives. Howdy, Ron. Great to see you, sir. Oh, good. Your snow and ice is starting to melt. I didn't get any snow or ice. Well, I got a little bit of ice, but it was like on the bird baths. I chunked it out in the yard, and it melted pretty quick. But yeah, not everybody is going to be comfortable creating content. In fact, of the couple of thousand people that participate in the YTPC, I would say maybe 10% of them realistically make regular content. That means there's, you know, around 1,800 of y'all that are out there hanging out with us, chatting with us. So you're not making content. So what? As long as you're enjoying hanging out with us, that makes you awesome. At least to me, it makes you awesome. You think I would hang out for 2.5 hours if I had 0 comments scrolling up on this screen? No, I wouldn't be doing this if I had 0 comments. I'd be like, screw this, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to enjoy my cigar, and you're just going to see me going, and that'd be about it. I wouldn't invite y'all in and tell y'all all these things. I wouldn't be sitting here in the cold. I wouldn't do it. But all these fine folks that keep showing up, that either means you're a glutton for punishment. I'm hoping that's not what it means, but that either means you're a glutton for punishment, or y'all are like me. You're going to enjoy your time hanging out. James Stumbo, howdy, sir. Great to see you, sir. Well, Jose, that is really most of the fun for me, is getting to interact with humans that share my likes. I mean, not all of y'all enjoy cigars. I understand that. But I smoke pipes too. Like I said, maybe not on lives, but that's just because if I work at smoking a cigar live, it's so much easier reading comments, keeping it lit, not having to worry about what's going on. Pipes require a little bit more work for me. I'm not as good at it. Howdy, Matthew. Great to see you, sir. And just like most normal tailgates, there's no specific topic of conversation. We've had topics of conversation that go everywhere from, hey, this music artist passed away, to this is what you need to look for in that cigar that you're trying to figure out. The range of topics is huge. And mostly I depend upon y'all to steer the conversation. I mean, when y'all ask a question, I see what I can tell you. Even if it's, I don't know. Well, Jose, I'm pretty close to you in the number of years that I smoked cigars, though I'm only 47, so I need another few years before I can hit that 40 mark. And I'm about even with you on pipes, but mostly I smoked pipes just to finish good cigars. Yeah, but Ron, you're always here. And you're always on everybody else's live too, just like Boris. You're always there. You've got good comments, and the questions that you throw out there are well thought out. And even though you're going through some issues, and I know, Ron, you're going through some issues, you always come in and you put those issues aside for a little bit. And some of that I'm glad I can help with. And some of that to me is just absolutely amazing, because there's not everybody on the planet that can just say, hey, you know what, I've got issues, but you know what, for the next 2 hours, screw it. I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, that's very hard for a lot of people to do, and it's inspiring. And if Ron wants to discuss his issues, that's fine. Go for it. Ron has made mention of a few things that has cued me in that he's got some issues. And just know that we're thinking about you, Ron, and we hope that any kind of issues that you're having are somehow miraculously put in the past. As in, you don't have them anymore. Jeffrey, so did I. Yeah, I started with cigarettes and then moved to cigars. And then when I started realizing how expensive cigars were, I got a corn cob that would fit the cigars I liked, and I would use the corn cob to finish off the cigar, and then I tried a few pipe blends and was like, well, you know, okay, but I had the pipe blends, so I kept doing it. Steve, I'm right there with you. It doesn't matter whatever y'all want to talk about, that's where we're going. Because that's the spirit of a tailgate. It's not my tailgate. It's our tailgate. It's the community. What's bugging you? What do y'all feel like talking about? Steve, I guess I don't really have a favorite shape. But according to what I've found out, most of the problem I've had with pipes gurgling is that I prefer bent pipes over straight pipes. And that if I would switch to straight pipes, they would stop gurgling so much. But that has a lot to do with the amount of humidity that is here in the Houston area. Oh, and thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate that. I just try to keep it light-ish, sort of. I mean, sometimes I get a little crazy with my topics. I mean, I know that. I try to keep that to a minimum, and I'm trying to curb my natural instinct to just talk about whatever. Okay, awesome, James. That is awesome news. Is he okay? Or is it just that he's woke up? There's a big difference there, because some people go into that coma and basically come out like they're a stroke victim and have to relearn a lot of stuff. Whereas some people come out of a coma and they're just fine, like it had never happened. And I'm hoping that it's the second. that he's just fine, like it never happened. He just needed the extra rest. Everything's good now. Okay, so they're on to the cognitive tests at this point. Okay, well, keep us informed. Man, that's awesome news. Let Betty know we're thinking about her. If she's out with her dad, I would completely understand that. Even as bad as my dad was to me, if my dad was in a coma, I'd probably be up there where he lives. I'd be up at the hospital sitting around wherever they say I could smoke and be smoking a big fat cigar, wondering when is my dad going to wake up. Oh, Ron, that is excellent news. In case y'all are wondering, Ron did mention, I think it was just the other day, that his cancer pills were affected by the aspartame of diet sodas or something like that. And I'm sitting there going like, man, I didn't even know. He never even mentioned, never even hinted at it. Okay, James, that's cool. I got grapefruit. That's right, grapefruit. It wasn't aspartame. It was grapefruit. In fact, I think it was last night on Robert's channel that was mentioned. Oh yeah, I can't drink fruit juice when I'm taking my allergy pill because I use Allegra. It says specifically don't take this if you're taking it with fruit juice. Which is horrible because that means I was taking that Stonebreaker stuff with straight water instead of with fruit juice. It's a whole lot easier to take that stuff with fruit juice than it is with straight water. And Steve, who has tried some of it, he'll tell you that stuff tastes awful. But if you compare how bad Stonebreaker tastes to how bad a kidney stone hurts, you'll take it and you'll like it, damn it. And I will tell you, I have passed another kidney stone since I was taking the Stonebreaker. But every time I drank a bottle of water, I put a full dropper worth in the bottle of water and just kept sucking it down, and the stone passed and I was able to tolerate it. And that was way better than going to the hospital so that the doctor could look at me for 15 minutes and say, yep, it's a kidney stone. Now we're going to charge you $15,000. Yeah. Oh yeah, grapefruit juice. I'm not missing it. Oh yeah, Steve, it's horrible tasting, but if it continues to minimize the size and amount of pain that I'm feeling from a kidney stone, I'm going to keep using it. And all I can tell you is whatever it's doing, I haven't had a kidney stone in almost 3 years now. That was not tolerable. And previous to that, I had one roughly every 8 months. Well, I've only had 2 that I went to the hospital for, but it was 8 months apart. The only thing I will tell you, Steve, if you can't take fruit juice, you put it in a big glass of water, you slug that water down as fast as you can, and you immediately dump a cup of coffee down on top of that, because that will mostly clear up the taste. Otherwise, it tends to linger for a while. Yes, the taste of that stuff is horrible. I'm not going to lie. Howdy, Gray. Great to see you, sir. But hey, it's by way of tailgate that I told Steve about that stuff. Welcome back, Paul. Always great for you to be here. Or I always think it's great when you're here. Oh, yeah, yeah. Steve, you're not lying. Well, Jeffrey, there is a product out there. It's a natural product, and it is called Stone Breaker. And the little bitty bottle with a little bitty dropper on top. I'm not sure where you will be able to find it in your neck of the woods, but it's an orange looking bottle. I should bring it out one of these days to show everybody. Oh, Matthew, don't ask me, but if the chat wants to throw out some suggestions, I'm not going to tell them no. Well, I'm now got iced tea. Not truly ice, but it's as cold as a glass of iced tea. Ah, diesel double perfecto. Very nice. I like most of the diesels. Especially the one that's called Whiskey Row, which was aged in sherry casks. Mighty tasty. It goes between pepper and sherry. So if that sounds good to you, you can look for them. Okay, so Amazon has it. So at least there's a way to get it. And if Amazon has it, that means it's pretty much able to ship worldwide. Jeffrey, no, I've never had gout, but I am a bit too omnivorous. I did ask my doctor, back when I had one, if I was also likely to run into gout. And he asked me a bunch of questions about what I like to eat, and after a certain number of questions where he was like, you like too many vegetables, you're never going to get gout. Don't worry about it. Oh, now see, the Nicopuro, That's a hell of a good cigar. Made by Drew Estates. Very underrated. Hardly ever talked about. Thank you, wrenches. I know what y'all did. Someone played Whack-A-Troll or Whack-A-Bot. I liked it better when I could just talk crap to trolls. But here on the Prism app, when one of those bots shows up and you got to have someone remove it instead of going over to YouTube and then having that feedback loop that goes on and on for a while. Oh wait, Nicapuro. Yeah, that's different. No, Nica Rustica is the one from Drew Estates. Oh look, and there's her. There's Elizabeth Moore's good buddy Hassad Hijab. I wish there was a way to literally have people in a general area that were ever these bots are showing up from. When they release a bot like that, it basically goes back and it nukes their computer. Ah, the Diesel Esteli Puro. Okay, I got you. Wow, Matthew, that's a pretty good selection there. Well, if you don't have anything with deer tongue open, I would say get the gentleman collar. But if you do have something with deer tongue open, then don't make it the gentleman collar. There's only so much deer tongue that you can get in a normal basis before it just becomes one note. And it'll ghost pipes. Well, Matthew, you're getting some good suggestions. Well, I'm not going to try and convince you to try Gentleman Collar just for the deer tongue, but be aware that it's there. You will either like it or you will hate it almost immediately. It doesn't seem to there is anyone at all that is like, yeah, well, I mean, it's okay. Everybody seems to have an opinion. It's either love or hate. I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other. Somebody else is going to have to answer Matthew because I do not remember what Irish flake is like. I remember having it, but I only had like a small sample of it. I remember liking it, but I don't remember what it was like. Well, Paul, if I ever get internet famous, I will hook up the Patreon and I will split the Patreon with you half. Well, I'll split it with you and whoever else is wrench that day. I mean, I figure that would be fair. I get half because I'm the one having to be the ugly mug up in front of the camera going like, great, there's another troll. Oh, good, there's another bot. Of course, the chances of me becoming internet famous. I got about as much chance of becoming president of the United States as being internet famous. Eddie, I don't blame you for not really wanting to go outside. And I know that question is for Eddie, but it was about 34 degrees today. Oh, goodness. Paul, I think y'all would all move out about the same time y'all realized the restrictions that are here. Got to go outside to smoke. Can't hardly even make a noise when you're inside the house. Got a wife that's got a list of chores ready to go at any given moment. Oh, yeah. Whew. Steve, I have not tried the Captain Black grape yet. I am saving that for a little bit of a warmer weather. Mostly so that if it's really horrible, I can get up and spit off camera. I'm afraid with as cold as it is right now, I would spit and it'd turn into an ice cube before it hit the ground. Oh yeah, Matthew, I'm right there with you. I can handle the cold. As long as it'll get cold and stay cold, I'm good with it. It just doesn't do that in Texas. And yeah, right now y'all are looking at the two hoodies. That's because there is some wind coming in. And I don't need the earaches. I've had too many in my life, and I don't need any more. Well, Boris, there are some sections of Texas that get pretty damn cold, like Amarillo and Muleshoe. Up there in the extreme northern panhandle of Texas, it gets cold, real cold. But here along the coast, it never gets cold. So when it does drop to this kind of cold, it's like, oh, that's painful. See, Eddie knows what I'm talking about. You got to go some places to know where Muleshoe is. Oh, and you get out in the mountains headed towards El Paso, up around something Pines. I forget what it is. There's some little bitty towns out there in the middle of nowhere that are way up in the mountains, and it gets plenty cold up there. Sod poodles. I'm not even sure what a sod poodle is.
What is
A sod poodle?
a sod poodle? I have no clue.
Okay, Holly says she doesn't know what a sod poodle is either. Ooh, wind chill of -15 yesterday. That would be mighty, mighty painful.
Boris?
No, that was Eddie, who lives up in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
Yep.
Fort Worth.
Yes, Boris, that is correct. Muleshoe is in the panhandle, just about halfway between the top and the bottom of the panhandle on the New Mexico side. Little town, middle of nowhere, nothing to block the wind. It gets plenty cold. Oh, they were the Amarillo's Dillas when you were little. Okay. The Amadillas. The Amarillo Minor League Baseball team. Okay. Sod poodle is a prairie dog. Okay. Well, I don't live within 12 hours of Amarillo by driving.
He talks like he grew up having a turtle hole. Does he know what a turtle hole is?
I don't know. But there is a weather phenomenon known as a West Texas hooker.
Do you know what a turtle hole is?
Specifically?
Yeah.
That might be a Michigan thing.
No, it is a Texas thing.
Okay, well, and you are shaking like you're cold.
I am cold.
Holly's cold, and she's from Michigan. So that means it's officially cold here in Texas.
It is. But mostly because my bionic knee feels like a cube of ice.
Well, Eddie, I've got another one that's fun. Here's a good, funny one. Texarkana is closer to Chicago than it is to El Paso. And Gray, also known as Possum Piper, is asking, what is a turtle hole?
It's the trunk of your car.
It's the trunk of your car. Okay.
I learned that on my way to McMurray with one of my brother's football friends' mothers. We were comparing different words used in different parts of the country. I laughed my ass off.
Okay. So what people in Europe would say is the boot.
Yes, it's the. I was going to say that it's the boot, but
people up in extreme northwest Texas would call it a turtle hole. So yeah, Paul, you're basically right. The back end of a turtle. Oh, and a West Texas hooker. That's when the wind comes and brings a storm front down into Texas, and then it hooks and goes up into Oklahoma.
which is where it should go.
Careful, there's some people here that are living in Oklahoma. They don't want that stuff. But we all know that it's windy in Oklahoma because Dallas sucks and Kansas blows. And for anybody who's in Kansas, I apologize.
Kind of.
Sort of. Of course, the same thing can be said about Kansas using Oklahoma and Nebraska. And same thing about Nebraska using Kansas and the Dakotas. It all depends upon where you're at. It's all relative. Well, Steve, I guess I was raised gentler than to call it a turtle hole. Matthew, I will agree, especially Kansas City, which all the good parts of Kansas City are in Missouri. It's so bad that the Kansas City Chiefs are even playing in Missouri when they play at home. Howdy, Mark. Great to see you, sir. Oh, it's always good to see you, Mark. And no, Mark, for you, this is not cold. This is just cold for Texas.
Where's Mark?
He lives not far from Mike and Sue. Their ground will not be anything but pure white for a long time.
It's warmer when it snows, though, than when it doesn't.
Boris, that's correct. It's really only a very small part of Kansas City that's in Kansas. The majority of it is across the river in Missouri. You go, Eddie. Just remember, bundle well. Or at least hang out in your garage with a heater or whatever else you can use. I do not counsel going out and catching a cold or getting sick just to enjoy a pipe or a cigar. I am bundled well. I am still blowing my own version of steam. My tea that I poured just before coming out from a boiling kettle is as cold as the best iced tea I've ever had. Thankfully, I like tea everywhere from boiling hot all the way back to ice cold. So it works for me. Oh, and for any of y'all who are skipping on going to Stumbo's family gathering live feed, y'all missed out. Holly had all she could stand, so she came on live and was giving me hell live. You should have seen it. It was great. I'm pretty sure James Stumbo loved it, and I know I was over here just laughing my ass off. It was... So what? Pick on me. Go ahead. She does it pretty well because she knows me, but she doesn't ever offend me, mostly because you can't. Wait, I enjoyed what too much? And Boris, I'm glad that your snowfall took a break. I know y'all have been having a lot of humidity lately. Maybe that's a sign that the humidity's dropping out. At least then it will feel warmer. Paul, it was in the last half hour of the Stumbo family gathering. You would have to look for when he's showing off a knife, and then shortly after that, Holly comes in there and is giving James some grief and then hounding on me, and it's a good time. Boris says it was fun. You should do it more often, Holly.
Trying to figure out how to change my name.
She wants to change her name. Probably to something like Not Donald's Wife. And James is here, and he said, yes, I love that Holly showed up.
No, wasn't
She's giving the, I'm cold. So her hand is waving like that. She's laughing about it, but Paul, Holly does not smoke a pipe. She will smoke a cigarette. I've tried to find blends that I thought she would like, and she's like, no.
I, unlike Bill Clinton, prefer to inhale.
I've also tried to find her cigars I thought she would like, and no. Other than like cloves every once in a while.
Yeah, of course.
And her words, not mine, even though I've said something similar. She is not like Bill Clinton. She likes to inhale. Uh-oh. James Stubbo says he's been working on something for Holly since yesterday.
Oh, no.
Listening to the sound of Holly go, oh no, it makes it all worth it. Yes, Holly actually does exist. And y'all have also heard from my mother-in-law at least once when she came out and said, fuck you, Donald, on a live feed. That was awesome. Nothing beats the love you get from family when they just let you have it on a live feed. Mark, I liked it as well. I didn't like it as well as I liked the orange blended stuff, but I did like it. But if you were to say both of these blends are suddenly right now available at C&D, I know which one I'd be buying. It'd be the one with the orange. The other stuff I might get a 10, but I'd be like, it's going to be an occasional thing. Gray, I don't believe that he's tuning a baseball bat. Or turning a baseball bat. Mostly because I don't think he would want a baseball bat to be dented that bad by bashing me in the head with it. I'm going to take a lot of killing when it comes to killing me. So you better make it the size of a 4x4, but still light enough she can swing it. James says, if she wants a baseball bat to hit Donald with, I'll make it.
I had one. I was a softball player.
Hopefully y'all heard that. But yes, she was a softball player. Back in her younger days, she was catcher for her softball team. it helped that she never got above 5 foot tall. Short catchers are a plus. Heavier rolling pin, maybe. She would like a rolling pin, probably. She just stuck her head out and said she has a ceramic one. So I don't think she needs another rolling pin.
I mean marble, not ceramic.
Oh, she said it's marble, not ceramic. Hey, what do I know? I don't bake that way. Make Holly a wrench. Hell no, she'd boot all of y'all out just to get me to shut the hell up. And I am not here to end this show by pissing everybody off. I know how Holly is. She would love to be in that kind of control. Then she could say, hey, your show's over. It's time to do work. Damn. Well, she knows the easy way to do that. All she's got to do is come out here and hit the end button. She's nice. She's not that mean. Boris, I would love to explain why women don't play baseball. Instead, they only play softball. But if you've ever watched like the truly professional softball pitchers throwing that ball, it comes out a whole lot faster than what professional baseball players play. I think you have to have that extra size on the ball just to be able to even spot it enough to even get the bat on it. I've seen regular pitchers that they were saying, they're an okay pitcher, and they're throwing 110. Has something about that wind up and underhand flat pitch. I wouldn't want to have to try and hit it. Fastest one I ever took a swing at was about 60, and that still seemed like it come steaming past me like it was in a hurry to get where it was going. Okay, I'll tell that story. Why not? And James, yes, she is a nice lady. A while back, the College of Rice here in Houston, their baseball team was top notch. And they were having a charity thing where for $20 you got 20 pitches. And I was like, hey, you know what? I bet you I could at least put the bat on it. Howdy, Everett Young. Great to see you, sir. Whew, it is not that cold here, sir. No, 34. But there it is. I get up there and I was like, okay, well, throw me what you're throwing them. I think I can hit it. No. 20 pitches, I hit one ball. And afterwards I asked, how fast was that guy throwing? And they were like, that was only 60. I was just like, that's freaking ridiculous. I'm not saying that I'm completely hopeless in sports, but in baseball, my reaction time just was not fast enough. And I have no problem saying it. The one that I did hit, I started swinging about the same time that I saw the pitcher's arm get to the top of his release point, and I hit the ball. I mean, it didn't go but to the guy over there on third base, almost directly to him. I was out. I never would have got to first base, but I at least hit the ball. There were a lot of people that tried and missed all 20. But it was for a children's charity and it was for a good cause, so I didn't mind going and blowing $20. And 15 minutes later, I was walking away going like, well, I am not going to play baseball. All right, good for you, Everett. Speaking of lat bombs, I hear Boris got lat bombed. Of course, he is not much for Latakia, so not my fault. Oh, yeah. Hey, women are in MMA. They've got women-only sailing teams. Sports that were almost always considered a men's game. Golf. Golf took forever to finally get around to letting women play. The only course that I know of that women are not allowed to play is Augusta. And they said, if you don't like it, too damn bad. That's the way the owner had it set up, and that's the way it will stay. Pirate cake and 10 Russians. Now, I do like pirate cake. I've never had 10 Russians. Don't send me any 10 Russians. I will get to it eventually. I don't need people sending me extra stuff right now. I'm telling you, right now I am feeling way overly blessed. I got something sent to me because Dingus had it sent to me. James, Dingus, I love you, brother. I still haven't opened that 10, but I'm thinking about it. Mark, don't feel bad that I haven't opened that 10. I'm trying to save it for a special occasion, kind of like somewhere around my birthday. And then I won some tobacco from the Nashville Mafia. I got that yesterday evening. Hey, we opened it live on air. Looking forward to that too. Boris, you might have just kind of overdosed on Latakias back when you were really into them. It wouldn't be the first person I've heard doing that. Oh, very nice. Haunted bookshop is always a good thing. Boris, have you had any of the C&D Burley Flakes? I'm betting that he has, but I'm not going to speak for him. Now, y'all remember what I said this cigar would go 2.5 hours. I got plenty of cigar left, and I've only got 30 minutes left before I hit the 2.5 hour mark. I wasn't lying. And I had to retouch it once because I was talking too damn much. Hey, I apologize. But when the conversation's good, who cares? That's the best part about tailgating. Not a problem, Possum. Remember, if we're not here, we're probably over on Matt, that would be Glum Chum Piper's channel. That's, of course, who I'm tailgating for right now. And then there would be Cane Rod Piper. And then after Cane Rod, of course, is Martin later tonight. That's Over a Pipe. And I never miss Over a Pipe. Oh, come on. New York doesn't secretly belong to Canada. Though there is that one section of Vermont called Alberg that probably technically should belong to Canada. You have to cross a bridge over water to get to the United States from Alberg, Vermont. But you can walk across dry land and be in Canada. But there's some line drawn on a map somehow that made it so it's United States. Woo! Matthew, make sure to save Doug some. Oh, yeah. The tobacco taxes in New York are notoriously bad. I remember doing a whole thing about that. It's been a few years back, but I guess I'm probably going to have to do another review of that at some point. Whew. I think it might have dropped a few degrees. No big deal, we're still here. Oh. I hear you, Mark. I hear you. Oh, yeah, Boris. That always sounds like a good deal for a Friday. Haunted bookshop in the Savinelli. Of course, I don't have that particular shape. I've only got a 320. But I like the 320. Howdy, Scott. I think I said hi earlier, but I'm not for certain. But you're definitely correct. Smugglers do love tobacco taxes. When it gets to the point where regular tobacco is going to cost you this damn much more, someone who can drive right across a state line and pick it up for so much cheaper, they will. I mean, there's some parts of New York that are real close to Pennsylvania where there are no tobacco taxes. Oh yeah, Jose, I really enjoy my 320. That golf ball size bowl fits well in my hand, and it doesn't get hot, even if I'm smoking it a little bit hotter than I should be. Just a damn good pipe. Boris, that was my issue with the 673, is that I like a bigger bowl. If I'm going to take the time to sit around, tamp a pipe, get it lit, keep everything going just right, I want that time. And I think the smaller bowl pipes, the tendency for me is that I'm refilling it almost immediately, because it's like it's just not enough. So that 320 KS, which I've got the Savinelli Trevi in the rusticated, or maybe it's sandblasted, I'm not sure. It's black and silver, Raiders colors. Don't know why I would think something like that would be good for me. See, and I'd be great with the Hercules and the other ones, but all the Savinellis I'll ever get, really, they're going to be with that KS, which stands for king size. Because I know that I'm just going to be like, I want that time. And yes, the 673 is the match's particular favorite size and shape. And had I had the money when they became available, I'd have gotten one, just because it was matches. I mean, I don't know of anybody who is currently in the YTPC that hasn't seen at least one matches video and hasn't found themselves going back to find more of those videos. They were all very well done, though Holly does say he's got the kind of voice that would give insomniacs the ability to sleep through the whole night. Oh, very nice, Eddie. Okay, Paul, I see that. Your ex hated the way he talked. Yeah, well, my current hated the way he talked. Not really hated, just, she says, his tone and cadence is just enough that it'll put you completely out. That's almost exactly the way she says it. I understand, Boris. I've got some pipes I don't smoke very often, just because I got them when I thought that they were going to be a good pipe for me, and then they weren't. And there's nothing wrong with that, Eddie. And there's nothing wrong with that, Everett. I had to say it to two different people, but both comments. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look, if you just can't take the full time to watch a matches video, okay. I'm not going to try and tell you that you're wrong. Everybody's going to do what they feel is right. It is very relaxing. But, I mean, that's what she was saying, is that it's so relaxing that you could find yourself suddenly, just without conscious thought, falling straight off to sleep. And, I mean, I can't tell her she's wrong. That's her take on it. For me, it's a fascinating subject, and so therefore I'm going to listen to every word. For her, it's kind of a boring subject, so she's only listening to the words, and then she's out cold. All right, Jeffrey, you take care. Hopefully we will see you again soon. And Everett, that is actually a bunch of 673s. You even got the Rossi 673. All right, it's the 8673, but we all know that a Rossi with an 8 on the front, you drop the 8 off, and it's the same exact pipe as a Savinelli. It's just how they figured they would do it. Look at there. Where has the time gone? 2 hours, 12 minutes. And we are sitting here 8 minutes after the hour. Okay, so I'm a little 4 minutes ahead. In case anybody's watching for when Glumchum shows up, let the whole chat know. This is a tailgate. I'm not here to bogart. I'm here to provide a nice place to gather so that we can jump to the next show. One thing I do know for a fact, it's really awesome when within the first 5 minutes of going live, you've got a room full of people. I mean, there were several of my first lives where 10, 15 minutes in, nobody was there yet. It was like, what do we talk about? There's really nothing to talk about. Well, Everett, there's not too many Savinellis that I would say are not a good smoker, at least. All right, not a problem, Mark. You take care. Enjoy your time with family. Hey, family first. Anybody ever hear me say anything different than that? Y'all need to go back and watch. I don't have a job right now because family first. I'll always say that. When I was running a crew of electricians, had this guy whose mom got sick. I sent him to the hospital. That was many years ago, but I sent him to the hospital. Said, "Man, go take care of your wife. Go take care of your mom." And he got his paycheck that next week and was wondering how come there was way too much money in there because he had only worked 2 days that week. Took care of him. Good worker. He wasn't lying about it. You know, but hey, family's in the hospital. We can work around this. Now, the company I worked for didn't much care for it, but I was like, look, family first. when it stops being family first, I'm the fuck out of here. I'd said that to the owner. And the owner was looking at me like he was going to say something, and then I was like, it's fine, but that's my journeyman's license that's out there running that crew. I didn't have him over a barrel, but he knew better than to sit there and say something about it. And no, it wasn't because I was trying to cheat somebody. We, as a crew, we all put in an extra hour every day that week, and we didn't charge the company for that extra hour we all put in. We did it so that our fellow electrician could go take care of his family. None of his work was missing. And as a crew, we all said, look, we're going to do this. It's one extra hour out of the day. So we all showed up 30 minutes early and we all stayed 30 minutes late. He got a full check. He was only missing 3 days. Come on. It's not like a forever thing. Well, see, that's where I would say that the 673 would shine, is that it is very comfortable in the clinch. Probably. I don't have one, so I can't tell you. And I get back on my feet, there's going to be several pipes I'm going to get. Some of them are very craftsman and artisan. Jose, God, family, country, good way to put it. Sometimes it gets blurry between country and family, depending upon the person. But yeah, that's your top three. Quite honestly, I don't really much care to work with people who don't want to put their family in that top three. I find them to be unreliable. That's my opinion. But, you know, if you can't find something that is important enough that you have to say, hey, I got to put family first, those people are just not who I want to be associated with personally. Thank you to whoever smashed the hell out of that bot. No, I don't read Russian letters. Cyrillic, I believe it's called. We're down to like the last 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to have to go barehanded, mostly so I don't burn the glove. I'm okay though. If I can't handle 20 minutes in this temperature, then I should have not even done it. Thank you, Boris. I appreciate it. One of these days when I do get back in the job market and can afford it, I'm going to remind myself that I owe my wrenches. Y'all been doing a bunch of work for me and you've never asked for a damn thing, and I'll have to figure out something I can do to repay. I'm not big on owing people things. And there's some people out here in the YTPC I owe. I know I owe. I hate feeling that way though. I don't like spending Holly's money, even when she tells me to. I would hate for anybody who is one of my mods to sit there and think that I don't appreciate them. Because I do. I really do. I know that the stream works a whole lot smoother with y'all taking care of business on that end. Because, like I said, I'm on an app. I can't do this and remove bots at the same time. Now they still show up on my screen and stay there because that's the way it is on the Prism app. But if they can be removed from the YouTube app, that means that people who are going to be watching the video are not going to be seeing it, and that's a good thing. Personal opinion. By the way, if y'all are ever thinking about subbing these guys who are all with the wrench, they're all worth it to sub. Paul is obviously like the Mr. Good Wrench. He has a damn near full-time job being a wrench on just about everybody's channel. Boris, I believe he's a wrench on several. And Patrick Grant, who Paul said I should put him as a moderator, and so I did. Patrick Grant, he's always around. Several channels that I know of that he is a moderator on. They do a damn good job, and if you're thinking about getting them to work for you, I'm telling you right now, it's just one of those things. Y'all should sub them and let them know where you're at. And why do they do such a good job? Well, quite honestly, it's because they're already set up to do it. They know to not get crazy with it. Sometimes they get a little fast. I've seen Paul mute a few people that and then come back and be like, oh, sorry, click the wrong person. And you know what? That happens from time to time. But if y'all ever want to get mad at any of my wrenches, no, get mad at me. I made them a wrench. Really, Paul? You even got George Bruno. That takes some doing. I've never made it through a full one of George Bruno's shows, though. Almost every time when he starts talking about ex-wives or whatever, I'm just like, yeah, I gotta go. the way I see it, if I'm going to take marriage advice, I want to take marriage advice from someone who's been married for a long time, not from somebody who's figured out how to screw it up 3 times already. I can do a damn good job of screwing things up enough all on my own. I don't need help. I'm going to take marriage advice. I'm going to take marriage advice from somebody like Steve and Miss Kathy, who I believe have been married pretty much my whole entire life. Because that's something to aspire to. Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that. I don't want to do the divorce thing. It's not really in my nature. I've already been through it once. I don't want to ever go through it again. And that's not trying to talk crap about George Bruno. No, that's not to talk about George Bruno. That's just to say that if I'm going to be taking that marital advice in any way, shape, or form, I want it to be from somebody who figured out how to make it work, not figured out another new way to screw it up. It's just the way I feel about it. Now, when George Bruno's not talking about marriage or relationships with women, his show's pretty damn good. Boris, I'm there with you. I go back to some of his really older stuff where he talks about beard and stuff like that. That stuff, I'm listening because, well, look at his beard. I mean, if Boris was to put out videos about nothing other than beard stuff, I'd be like, shit, I'm right there. Cool. Knowing full well I'll never grow a beard. Remember, this has only been growing since January 1st. That's all that's grown since January 1st. The last time I shaved was December 31st. Okay, I shaved the cheeks. Not this week because I knew it was going to be cold and I wanted that little bit of extra insulation. Not that it's much. If Chad started talking about nothing but beard products, I'd listen. I mean, there's Billy Gibbons, Chad and Boris. There's a few others out there, but I'm never going to compete on their level. But I would listen if it's something that they obviously are pretty much an expert about. Paul, I'm there with you. I kind of know what I'm doing with my money. I'm pretty good with it. But I don't talk about it because I'm not so good that I feel like I should be talking about it. Well, Ron, that's right there. It's because you haven't figured out how she put up with you this long. But that shows that you know how to appreciate her enough for her. So you're obviously doing something right. Damn, you've been married, except for 2 years, my whole entire life. Boris, if I can get it to grow without it being super itchy, I will put a year beard in. I will have a yeared, unless of course I get a job and they say I can't. And yes, Ron, definitely congratulations. 45 years. That's amazing. My first marriage didn't even last till the ink was dry. Been better off just to say, all right, I'll pay some child support. No, I didn't even get there. Oh, Eddie, it's not so much that it's itchy, it's that the psoriasis starts in, and then I'm ending up pulling out flakes from my beard that are the size of a quarter. At that point, it's over. I gotta get rid of it. 'Cause that's a bad look. Doesn't matter how much I try to keep it nice. That's just a bad look. Oh, Scott, mine grows into a fork. I mean, look, you can tell right now that it grows into a fork. It does that naturally. I don't groom it to grow into a forked beard. And yes, balm and oiling helps, but if you have psoriasis, there's not much that I can do about that. Steve and Kathy, 51 years next month. Holy cow. The amount of marriages that last 51 years is so rare. There's like really nowhere to compare it to. That's awesome. And congratulations, Steve and Miss Kathy. See, that's what I want to aspire to. I don't want to aspire to advice from somebody who's been through 3 divorces, other than, hey, look, I might listen for a minute or two just to hear, hey, these are the warning signs that she's cheating on you. But I kind of already know what those are, so I'm okay. Everett, that's amazing. Tell them congratulations from all of us. All right, Scott, not a problem. We won't be on very much longer because Glum Chum just went live. All right. Thank you for letting us know. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends of all ages over the age of 21, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it greatly. As per always, remember, take care of yourselves and each other. Do the best you can with that. And as always, long lives, big bowls. Obviously, long marriages, if you can get it to happen. And long ashes. Y'all take care, and I will see you soon. And Ron, I agree with you. Yes, dear is always the best last word. Y'all take care. I'll see you at Matt's here in just a minute. Bye for now.